Hello everyone, welcome to this Toastmaster meeting in English. I'm going to open the session. I ask you to turn off your mobile phones in case you haven't yet. And I'm going to hand over the session to our first Toastmaster today, Uwe Hart.
Thank you, Wanda. Good evening. Before we start the session, for our dinner tomorrow, for the ones that will attend, everything is okay, everything is confirmed. So, at 7, at the place of the crime. Today, we were going to have a, I don't know, I think at least 10th English session that we have. I don't know, but in the middle of this course, we thought this wouldn't happen, but we are fighting and, well, not one of the best ones, but with enough attendance to make the session. We're going to have 3 prepared speeches and very important speeches today. Everyone at the room is aware of how this works, so I'm not going to take that much time explaining how it will work, just saying that the accountant will be Anna, the grammarian also Anna, and the timekeeper will be Eduard, so for the ones that will be that is the one to look for. And for the first speech of the evening, his third speech in Toastmasters, I think. Sorry. First of all, the word of the day, and as a grammarian.
So our word of the day is altogether. Inspired by the altogether? No. Actually, it means just completely, totally. The example I have is I stopped seeing her altogether, or he stopped talking altogether. So it's just a way of exaggerating something that you are saying. So, altogether. At the end of the week.
Thank you. So, today, all together, only in English. And to do so, for his third speech in Toastmasters, I think it's the third speech, and all of them has been in English. I don't really remember the second one. The first one I remember. The second one I don't remember. But with the topic, guess what else can be act? So this is going to be interesting. Yeah.
Hello, Toastmasters. So today I'm going to talk about computers. Well, not any kind of computer. I'm not talking about supercomputers. But then again, I treat it like it's not going to be about supercomputers of the kind you expect. So, what kind of supercomputer I'm talking about? It's the brain. So, why is the brain a supercomputer? And I'll tell you why. So, the brain can outperform every computer on Earth on a couple of tasks, which of course, and due to my lack of expertise with PowerPoint or Google Drive version of it, already displays the features I'm talking about, which the first one is visual. So that may not seem obvious to you, but we are very good at visual, where computers is not. They have a lot of difficulties to learn how to. We can see, for instance, a desk once or twice, and we already know the desk. Computer needs to see thousands and thousands of images before it can say, hey, in high probability, I think this is a desk. So we got lucky, right? And the second part is always the emotion part. Beautiful part. Let's make it purple. And the computer does not understand what emotions are. But on the other side, the computer are better at doing math, advanced calculus. I would argue, but yeah, the computer beats us at storing information. Although I would say that our capacity, our brain capacity to store information, it might be a little bit underappreciated by some people. So, what else can you hack? The brain. And I'll start with the first hack, and that's why I brought a pencil to kind of exemplify the first one. So, our brain doesn't really know the difference between a real smile or a fake smile. So when you do like this, it kind of forces the muscles of your face to resemble the same way as the brain does. Smiling or laughing for real. So that causes the brain to release some sort of hormones, which is dopamine, I guess. I'm not an expert in neuroscience, but it's that one that makes us feel happy and easy going. So the brain doesn't really know the difference. And the second mechanism, that one is even more powerful. It's based on the same idea. Whenever we win, and whenever we win and feel powerful, and this happens across many species, and even obviously with us as well, even with people who are born blind. So whenever we win or feel powerful, we feel like this. And this idea comes from a very good TED talk that I would encourage you to see afterwards, that explores this idea. That is basically using the same pencil exercise but with your body, right? So whenever we feel happy, powerful, we do like this. And people ask themselves, can we do the same thing? Like whenever we're not feeling powerful, normal, we do like this, and trick our brain into thinking that we are really powerful, we are indeed powerful. And in fact, it works. It causes the brain, again, to trigger some production of hormones, in this case, it's testosterone, which the levels increase, and cortisol, which decreases. What that means, basically, when testosterone increases, it's more powerful, like the alpha male first. Not trying to be, how do you say, whatever, it doesn't matter. And drop levels of cortisol makes us feel more handling stressful situations better. They're like, chill. When everybody's panicking, if you have the low levels of cortisol, like, calm down, everybody. It's cool. And if you do the other way around, like, keeping yourself small, you actually do the opposite. You like increase the levels of cortisol and decrease the level of testosterone. So these are two good hacks, and I encourage you to use. In fact, I used just before I got here, but there are some potential for things that are south. And I'll give you just two examples. First one, when we are faced with unfair competition, there's a part of our brain that acts, that is very active. And what scientists did, they applied a very strong magnetic field to that part of the brain. And in result, we were more willing or more likely to accept unfair propositions. So you can see how this can be bad. It can change basically the way we perceive, the way our beliefs, and manipulate this. And the other one that just happened a couple days ago, another group of neuroscientists discovered they can turn on and off the conscious of a mouse. They can do that on the mouse, perhaps just a question of days, time, or years time to replicate on man. So as you can see, this can be really dangerous. Young people yet are using this already in fields like neuromarketing, kind of change our beliefs, manipulate us to buy more stuff or whatever. And I think we need to be more aware of that. But I do believe that as a society we will regulate to keep bad things from happening. So our brain is just another computer we can hack. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. I hope you have enough time to store some information because now we have 2 minutes to emotionally evaluate Tiago's speech. So let's pass to the second speech of the evening. It will be the third speech of someone really welcome because it is the only person that only comes to the English session. So you are the most important Toastmaster in English that we have here. For your third speech, we don't have your team already, but you are going to introduce it right now. So, run please.
Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow members. I'm Susanna Dunn. Today my topic is Madeira magic. I have a weakness. That is, I can work if I'm cold. The keywords of this presentation are Ideal Island, and Paradise. I have had 3 holidays since going to live in Madeira in the middle of April 2013. 2 trips were to my homeland of South Korea, and the third was to the tiny country of Andorra. It's between France and Spain. My first holiday returning to Korea was for a summer vacation. It was so hot and very humid that I could do nothing. During my second trip to Korea, I was sick for 2 weeks because of a funky cold. There's usually a lot of flu going around during the winter. In Korea, I used to get a vaccination against influenza every autumn. But I missed it that winter. Why? Because there is no proper winter in my new hometown, Madeira. Which has a subtropical climate, and so there is a little chance to catching influenza. That's why I choose Madeira Magic for my party. Once I dreamt of living in a paradise world where there is no winter and no hot summer, a place with especially fresh air. Looking back, I wasn't in shock since I was a little kid. I went to live in a nice place and peaceful life. And finally, I think I found out my paradise. Is this a real island? Before I left Korea, I was exhausted on overwork, hard work, and air winter pollution in Seoul. When my friend invited me to come here, I searched on the Google map, but I couldn't find this island. So, as you can see, around Portugal, there is no island. So I thought, is this a real island in existence? I just took an airplane for Madeira without confidence. This is a real island. I just wanted to live some pressure of work and pollution, everyday easy life. Where is it? When I arrived at the Madeira airport, I realized that, oh, this is very small island on the Atlantic Ocean, and it's really far from tropical mainland. That's why I couldn't find this island. It is the most beautiful island on the Atlantic Ocean. I thought that I stay here just for a couple of months for like a holiday. But I live in Madeira over 1 year because this is the most beautiful place where I wanted to find. Let me show you this island. This is a beautiful Atlantic Ocean. You can see variety blue color that I like and that I like on the Atlantic Ocean. I can see many cruise ships, very, very big cruise ships. Also, there is a lot of festivals every month. This photo is about a festival for grapes on last year September. This is a mushroom festival. I wanted to take a picture with them, but they are so pretty. This is a flower festival. baby flower to eldest flower. Yes, I can play hide and seek with people. I can play with swell. It makes me fun and healthy altogether. One thing I realized that Madeira is a real island, also my ideal island. I think this island is truly a great one in the world. It is a sort of my paradise. I love it.
So, 2 minutes to evaluate this major component for our island. Now for the third speech of the evening is sixth speech. I think it's the second or the third in English. It uses vocal variety with the theme people in our life. It's going to be really emotional, I think. That's okay.
Mr. Toastmaster, good afternoon. Certainly, the majority of us have wondered why a particular person crosses our lives. Not relevant whether that person is good or bad. Sometimes we figure it out quite easily. At times, it gets kind of tricky. In my early adult days, I went off after my first job. I was feeling confident and hoping for the best. As I was saying, I was feeling confident and hoping for the best. I thought I had natural leadership skills that would get me in a good position, and so it happened. I managed to get a fancy job, and as I predicted, in a short time I was in the head of the company's department, and suddenly in charge of a small group of people, including a small group of outsourced workers that came in a few times every week. Among those workers, there was this particularly annoying young lady, which in my state of mind lacked a great amount of niceness. I remember in my school days, one of our teachers once told us, from the top of his voice, "First impressions always count." And I thought to myself, what can this piece of advice certainly use in my life? And so I applied it by the book. As time went by, my relationship with the lady became very harsh. She wasn't nice, and I felt somehow things weren't going well. I tried to look at it in another perspective, but in spite of her, she was very competent, she happened to make small mistakes, which in my purpose came as an excuse for me to give her a hard time and punish her somehow for not being nice, not being kind, as I wanted everyone to be, at least with the boss. And guess who that was? Everyone knows how the story goes in the beginning of the career. We're young, full of energy, aiming at the top, and we're giving our best. We don't see things how we see a couple of years after. And so we take it to the limit. And as we take it to the limit, as I did, you get past what you can call that's normal. And you work the last bit of energy that you possess. I worked for at least 16 hours. It was normal leaving the office around 2 o'clock in the morning. One day, I even did better, and I turned off my desktop at 3. As I left the office, every cell in my body was asking for rest. The need for sleep was so urgent that I slept on my way back home. As a result, I had a terrible accident. Drunk driver causes serious damage, the newspaper said. Still in tremendous pain, I managed to get out of the car and suddenly fainted in the middle of the street. next thing I remember was this whispering voice asking me, "Can you relax?" That familiar voice echoed inside me. And I struggled to open my eyes, and as I did, there she was, the annoying lady. The next day, she popped in to pay me a visit in my hospital room. I was relieved that I'd have the chance to say thank you. And so, I looked at her and said, "Well, thank you, you were very helpful." And I added, "I had no idea you were so nice and helpful." And she quickly replied, "I had no idea you were human." The no longer annoying lady is called Anna. Anna is now my friend and has taught me one of the most useful lessons of my life. Anna presently is a nurse, works at hospital Sydney, Australia, and has taught me something even more important. People, all of them, that cross our lives are here for a reason. Thank you.
So let's try to give Nelson a sixth good impression with the evaluation. So we now should be going to the topic master, but today we are going to skip that part and start with the evaluation of the prepared speeches. The first speech of Tiago is going to be evaluated by Anna.
Yeah, so good to have the first speech here. You're very brave. So I'm going to tell you what I most liked about this speech was the organization we had for it, which is good because getting the point is all about organization and also about letting people know what you are going to talk about. I think everyone now knows what you were going to talk about. Although, because you wanted to do a strong opening, it was a bit confusing at the beginning Because it looked like you were going to speak about one thing, and then it looked like you were going to speak about another thing, and then eventually you were talking about hacking the brain. That was an interesting idea, and I think it worked well. I think he had a strong improvement point there. You should avoid apologizing. Don't say, I have problems with whatever, and this is appearing too soon. Keep that all together. Okay? Also, I think that you achieved the specific purpose that you had. Everyone was informed of what you wanted to inform. You had some interesting, what do I say, not too technical, but technical enough information. Set testosterone, dopamine, but not getting too much too deep that it gets confusing, but getting deep enough that it gets interesting. Also, I think that the thread of connection between every point that you made sense. It was just a tad confusing in the beginning, and in the end, when you have the exclamation mark there on the screen, I think it would have been better if you had in level 8, which is visual 8, to not have the same image for that one. Because somehow, because it's yellow and very catchy, I kept looking at it to see if you had moved on or if it was still there for some reason. Maybe it's a third fact that makes people look at exclamation points or something. So congratulations. I am looking forward to your work speech. So congratulations.
Thank you, Anna. We are now going to open the evaluation of Tiago. The audience who wants to.
I can add something. I believe all goals for this speech were accomplished. Again, you were funny. It already was clear on the previous speeches, but today we will reinforce that idea. And I believe that the challenge for the next speech, since these speeches are already all goals for this speech are already being taken, I would suggest you to try some vocal variety. I know it's speech number 6, cool. But even so, try to do it next time, because I believe you are ready for it.
Anyone else?
Thank you, President Santiago. I would just like to add something which you repeat in the speech, and I saw this in the previous speech too. Somewhere in the speech you said, whatever, like you didn't finish the sentence, something, you didn't go as you planned, and you said whatever. I would challenge you to try not to use this type of sentences, and it doesn't give you that much credibility to the speech. The rest of it, I love it. I love the topic. I love to see you up there with that confidence. Spectacular. Thank you very much.
Anyone else like to add something? Those who have time, I would like to add something to what has already been told. Congratulations, Doug. You followed the same type of speech previous to the speech is that in the beginning I didn't remember the previous ones, but then when we started talking, oh okay, I remember the previous speech that is, and it follows the same path, which is your style, and I really enjoy it. You have always a good way to bring some curiosities, having fun, and giving us some information, some real scientific information. So when you bring those kind of information, you shouldn't give them and then give them a low value. If you have the name of, if you know the name of the hormone that is floated by something, you should say it, or otherwise skip that in the speech. You could say, well, there is a hormone in the brain that is triggered by this. I'm not saying, because when you, like you also said, when you say that whatever, I don't really know, it's the value of the information that you gave previously drops with that kind of considerations that you make about yourself. So I think if you remove that from the speech, it will be a better speech with more confidence, and the others would achieve the focus easily. So, for the evaluation of Susanna level speech, the evaluation is going to be made by Tiago.
Doing an evaluation of being evaluated. That's something new, right? Susanna, congratulations. I think this was by far the best speech. It was really funny in those pictures and everything. I liked it a lot. Also because you're talking about my homeland, and that kind of helped too. But I was being unbiased the way I was evaluating the speech. But I think it was very good. It was more fluid because in the other ones you stopped with wills to sometimes to read. I think you didn't rely as much on the notes, which was good. You still relied on them, but well. The only thing I would say to improve was you were doing a lot of this, like I'm doing now, talking, and also there was a part you had a lot of topics, and this was the mistake I did, that appear all together. You can say, well, keyword number 1, keyword number 2, at the beginning. The other thing I would know was perhaps change a little bit the structure of the speech, because you start with the island and then you go back to South Korea, why you moved from there. We started with why you moved, and then slowly go to this beautiful island, and all my problems went away. But still, I'm looking forward for the next speech. I don't know how to do it, but he did improve a lot. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tiago. Now, for the audience who wants to add some things to the evaluation, Susanna,
I just wanted to say that I think this speech was so good that it distracted me from my job as the very that out. I was paying attention to what you were saying, and I forgot to register if you said any other difficult something a little bit still I thought it is a very positive point when you capture attention to that level to which you are abstracted from what you were doing before. So congratulations.
But I also got distracted from the speech. I forgot to show you the green and the yellow bar, but you did okay in time, even so. And I think that you use the notes and use it so that you could overcome the problem of the unity on your speech, and I believe that's a good strategy. So if if you still don't feel confident about speaking without notes, use notes. Because on normal presentations, you can use notes and no one will blame you or say, no, you are not doing it without notes. Here in Toastmasters, we are more demanding. But even so, use that. And if you need to check them from time to time or even say when you need them, do it. And slowly you will be able to get rid of them. But don't worry about that. If you feel that it improves your creativity and your ability to make a better presentation, solve that part first, that as you did today, and then you will try to get to know it out. So I think it was very good. It was funny. You were really confident today. It was really great. And congratulations. I'm hoping to see you at our next speech.
Anyone else would like to add something? Okay, I'm gonna add something myself. But between 10 and 18, I practice table tennis, and I know very Chinese people. And every word they say in Chinese, I couldn't understand. So I imagine how hard it is to be able to change from Korean to English. Because in Portuguese, it's not similar to English, but we have many words that are similar. It's not that easy for us to build a sentence, translating them into English to Portuguese. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. The effort that you are doing here and the improvement that you are having is the third speech. And since the first one, I think you haven't improved only 3 times better. It's more than 3 times. And the fact we're using notes, I think for you, I think you should use it as long as you need it to feel confident, because that way you can really improve. I remember with this speech you didn't use notes, and you were confident and afraid of missing a word, losing the idea you want to transmit to the audience. And this way, I think you had better control of all the speech, of the PowerPoint, of what you wanted to say. It went quite more fluent. And well, I just hope you continue coming to it, because you are an inspiration for us. Because I imagine that it's really hard. So congratulations, and we are looking forward to what speech. So to evaluate the speech of Nelson, the introduction.
First, let's have a deep breath, because I discovered today that we actually live in a magic island, Madeira. So go for it. Inhale. Exhale. Because actually, as well, I also have good news. Nelson, put your arms up. You're a successful man. You did your 6th speech. Woo! Well done, well done. I hope you have done this before this speech to assess your tract, to see how far and how confident you feel. So even people that haven't done, I advise you to do it before your 6th speech. And about this speech, to be more concrete about the speech, congratulations. As I'm used to, you make always a great speech. This I was supposed to evaluate your vocal variety. You were a bit nervous in the beginning. I've noticed that every time that is to talk about you, you feel kind of anxious and nervous, perhaps. And I can see that, because in the impromptu speech, you don't do that. When you talk about other subjects, you don't show any nervousness. And I could see that while you were speaking, and you kind of forget a couple of your speech, and also you didn't make as much as eye contact with us as I was used to. Because when I was looking at you, you were looking into the space, so you can find the speech, and like you were looking at us, but you weren't seeing us. Try to improve that. If you feel that talking about you is not something that you feel confident, or you may have two options. One, you don't talk about yourself. Two, go for it, and we are here to train that. About the vocal variety, I loved one thing that you said in the beginning, like um, when you said about your car crash. I slept on my way back home, and you put it low. And then when you said the drunk driver, you put your voice upper. That was a really example. One thing that I would advise you to do, this is a suggestion only, when you say echo voice, you could have done the same sentence, can you move your legs, but in like 3 times. Can you move your legs? Can you move your legs? Can you move your legs? So you could do the echo part, not only say this echo, but you could actually do it because we are practicing the vocal variety. What else can I say about you? Well, I can see that you've used a lot of expressiveness on your speech. You have a pleasant and natural and a really easy voice, so a really pleasant voice to hear. You've accomplished and you've used everything that you learned in the previous speech, which is really good. Thank you for this speech, because now I know exactly that all the people that cross our lives are here for a reason, and I know exactly why you, Nelson Pinto, are here in this Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Katerina. Who wants to add something to the evaluation of Nelson?
Well, I would like to, I'm repeating myself, but probably I'm getting really old and I'm saying the same thing over and over. But one thing that I believe is a good trick for memory, you obviously had some memory slips on your presentation. One trick that I believe is very helpful is imagine your house and imagine an order of rooms in your house. So, for instance, first the kitchen, then the bathroom, then the room. Okay? So imagine physically space. And then for each room, you set a topic on your speech. And then you practice by moving from room to room. Because your physical memory is much, much, much stronger than your word memory. And so if you are able to get the order of things that you have to say in your speech using physical things, physical movement, physical space, you will be able to memorize it much better. So that's the advice I would give to you so that you overcome that memory issue.
Anna, would you like to?
But I thought it was a brilliant speech. Brilliant story. Also got me very confident. It made my job as grammarian, I thought, very difficult. But still, point of improvement. Take your notes closely. Because obviously what distracted us the most was that you had to go over there to think about it. They were already there, and it just looks at it. It would have been much, probably for a larger audience, they would give you notes, I think. The other thing, I think you can exaggerate your vocal variety even more. Because it works perfectly when you do it. Like the drunk driver, I thought it for you sounded too much, but it was not too much. It was good. You can do that often, and you can get away with it very easily. So you can go over the top, and it works perfectly. For some people, it sounds strange because they are usually that when you see it out loud, it gets a bit scary. Even I remember one time he started with vocal variety, people said that he was scary because he's big, and when he started going like this, people said, "Ugh." But you can get away with it. So hopefully.
Someone else would like something? Okay, I'm gonna. Nelson, in the beginning, I think you started the speech really well, and then you made your focus. And then I think it's going to be very emotional for him, and he's having a hard time delivering the speech. Then you started the speech, and I kept that doubt in my mind. And then when you made the second quote, I started, well, is this a real story? Is really talking about something that happened to me, or not? Because those quotes have an influence on the speech. Now I realize that great speech that you wanted to use your secrets and you didn't want to make any impromptu from the speech you have prepared. But I think if you should have risk a little bit more and use some impromptu, or at least if you're not, if you're not able to get back to that point, talk a little bit more, feel a little more things that are not really related to the speech, but will help you to get back your memory, and then restart the speech. Because those drops in speech, well, we get lost and we will not know, well, sometimes we don't know if you are everything's okay with you, if you are too much emotional with the speech, or if you, and when you realize that, okay, is everything okay with me, but is this a real speech or something real that happened to him or not? So that was, it was a good speech, and I believe it's difficult to bring it here with a cool mood, talking about an accident. I don't take you any credit for that. It's all deserved. But delivering the speech was hard to keep up with you. So I think everything is done for today. So let's start the technical reports. Playing the role of the counter today is Anna, so I ask you to make a report.
If you don't mind, we'll just do a counter at the same time. We'll start with Tiago. You start with 3 sentences with but. I'm not sure if this is a problem, but maybe it's something that you can use variations on. However, and nonetheless, so maybe it's a word that you can change a bit. It's not really but still. You have 6 R's, you have 4, and then an extra as an evaluator. I know this one is difficult because I do also. And when people tell me, I go like, that. You also said you sort of ate some words, so they were missing from your sentences only to yourself, because you said, for instance, where computer is not, but I think you meant where the computer is not. You see like small words that seem to be like they were missing. You also said on the other side, when I think you should have said on the other hand, sure, but for me it sounded better if it was on the other hand. It's a bit difficult to be Bulgarian in English, so you know it's always just an opinion. You said also our capacity, it might be, and I thought that the it was not maybe there, so our capacity might be. For me it sounded better. You also said testosterone, which levels increase. This which doesn't really sound wrong. It doesn't sound good. I don't know if it's that or I can't tell you exactly what the alternative would be, but which levels increase sounded good. Also, you said also that maybe a matter of time, but you should have said maybe it is a matter of time. And you did some number. There were some words that I don't know what you said. And I was like, and I was in the front row, so Hugo, and you didn't use altogether. Hugo used altogether. He said A and 2R, but it was mostly on the evaluations, not as for Toastmaster. Also, you have 2 things with your accent that sounds strange to me. You say previous speech, and I think you should say previous speech. At least to me sounds better. And you say not really things, you say things. You sort of hit the age, and that sounds good. So then you did say altogether, and more things. Nelson, you started with your hands like this, and that sounded strange to me. Then you said, I was in the head of the department. I think you should have said, I was the head of the department, because in the head sounds strange. I tried, looked at it in a different perspective. I should have been, I tried to look at it in a different perspective. You said, in my purpose, when I think you meant in my view, because you were saying your opinion towards Anna. And you said also, you work the last bit of energy that you possess. You work to the last bit of energy, it sounds like something was missing. Also, you said, and now works at hospitals in Australia. I think works at a hospital in Sydney, Australia, maybe. Sounds like it is something there. Catherine, you said 2 R's, 1 and you said you put your voice upper. Then you put your voice louder. And Bart said one trick that I believe it's, and I think the is not necessary, one trick I believe is necessary. Okay, that's it.
Now, for the roles of timekeeper and general evaluator.
Right.
Thank you. So the times. The Funchal farm, 30 seconds. First Toastmaster on the introducing the program, 1 minute and 40 seconds. The primary, Anna, 26 seconds. The first speaker, 6 minutes and 36 seconds. The second speaker, Susanna, 6 minutes and 27 seconds. I'm very sorry I was distracted by your speech. I didn't show you neither the green or the yellow card. Nelson Peach, third speaker, 7 minutes and 30 seconds on the limit. I was having a difficulty with the amount of crap because that's all. On the limit, very well. Then the evaluations, I didn't get the time, and that's the report from the timekeeper. Now, general evaluator, I must say the timekeeper did a lousy job. He was very distracted, I know it, because I saw it. He made several mistakes. But in general, in the session, of course, it's difficult to have a session with this amount of persons. It's much more harder to have to share roles and do everything okay. Even so, I believe we followed the procedure. We did what is required, and I believe that we did a good job. I think the evaluations were great. I think that the speakers were also great. And congratulations, we did it once again. Just a final remark. We didn't start on time. Let's try to come to the room a little bit sooner and perhaps send the email with the presentation also, so that that part does not affect the beginning of the meeting. Even so, I believe we are improving. Let's try to convince some people to come to the sessions in English. I was talking to someone a few days ago, and I was saying, well, if someone needs to make an evaluation in Portuguese because he doesn't feel confident about it, I believe that we would be braver. Even having that difficult, Susanna wouldn't probably be able to understand that evaluation. Of course, it can't be Susanna evaluation, but to the other persons, because I believe having more people in the room improves the session and makes it more fun, more enjoyable, and more learnable.
Now to end the session.
So before I end the session, we are next week going to have 2 meetings, Portuguese, both Tuesday and Thursday. So maybe if that catches on and we start having meetings on the other Thursdays which we don't have in English, if we start having meetings in Portuguese, maybe that helps the Thursday meetings in English also have more persons. We can consider having next week 2 times, and then the week after that we get session in English. So please go for all the roles you can, because that's usually a problem. Thank you, everyone. Maybe, yeah. Because we were in the Portuguese weekend, so maybe work forgot. Yeah, probably just didn't, because the people don't go out on the road. We have to go in and say, yes, we can. Actually, Facebook without Portuguese. Also speaking about the countries, maybe I should provide my most yeah.
Will you be able to do a speech with now? No, or maybe do a speech with maybe you can, well, I don't know. Yeah, before? Yeah. Okay. No, it's today it's day 10, so it will be on day. Yeah, okay. I believe it's 24. So today is 10, so it's 24.
Annoying person. You querem people. Talvez pelo filme na cara. E eu fiz como isso. Fiz uma referência aqui no sexo. Isto é mesmo existe uma expressão
Yes, we go. Yes, we do. Probably going to be the fact.
Yes, we
I'm
will.
not sure if it is.
Yeah, I don't know. We have been here on August or
Showtime.
Okay.
Foi
I'm not sure if it makes sense to have English sessions during August. Very sweet.
I didn't see it first, but from what Anna told me, let's when you talk about yourself, it's easier. It's like the opposite. It's true, when you talk about yourself, your experience, it makes your speech more confident and fluent. Even if you get lost, you kind of.
É preciso parar alguma coisa aqui.
Tens alguma coisa para mim?
Aqui não tem, Nelson, porque assim, estava na frente do teatro, estava a ser. Não preenchi porque nem para a semana. Mas o sério, durante os shows tinha que estar a fazer a qualquer momento.
É
Só no tempo das
complicado.
avaliações é que consegui fazer uma avaliação, não era uma coisa muito fácil de acumular.
Pois é.
Mas será que eu adorei? Calculo que não seja a coisa mais torta de contar histórias.
Por acaso é uma história muito interessante. Uma coisa que nunca mais me esqueço. Essa minha amiga hoje em dia, ela foi trabalhar para o Estado porque não conseguia
Bem para hoje.
Sim, mas ela tinha comida lá no Estado.
Então.
E a necessidade de já trabalho.
Claro, assim, toda a gente que eu conheço que está na Austrália, toda a gente diz que
Tem um nível de trabalho. Mas foi.
Mas nós temos uma casa para alugar aqui no Funchal e temos agora lá uns australianos. Eles, para virem de lá para cá, demoraram 30 horas. E eu pensei, vejam todo mundo.
Mas quando fui a Singapura, descobri uma forma muito mais económica de ir à Austrália.
Então,
Vamos para uma cidade daquelas, ou para Bangkok, ou para Kuala Lumpur, ou para Singapura, e a partir dali apanhamos a low cost local.
sim, ela disse que
Fica
tinha
um
visto.
preço, não tem nada a ver de comprar aqui, porque eu comprei a viagem para Kuala Lumpur, 600 euros. Na Qatar Airways.
Sim, sim.
Chego lá, a viagem, o resto para a Austrália eram 180 dólares. Tu não encontras viagens para a Austrália 800 euros, um pouco menos que isso, não encontras.
Sim, a senhora dizia que normalmente ia para Singapura, mas que desta vez tinha optado por vir pelo Dubai simplesmente porque eram as viagens mais diretas, ou seja, ela disse que pronto, desta vez decidiu ignorar o preço porque ela também estava a viajar com crianças e portanto preferiu.
Foi o único problema que eu vi viajar para Kuala Lumpur.
Não tem muito o que se diga. É uma cidade interessante.
O Eduardo está a perguntar porque vai haver uma conferência do Toastmasters lá.
É muito interessante ir lá com o Eduardo, porque é um ponto que está...
Deixa-me roubar aqui os filhos que estás sentado em cima
Não,
deles.
mas é vantagens, tem uma cidade correta, uma política, tem aquelas coisas todas, tem os patrões, não sei o que mais. Mas todos têm uma vantagem, porque estás perto de muita coisa. E então, por exemplo, para ir ao Bali eram $80. Ir ao Japão, $120 a partir dali. Eles têm uma low cost local, fazem as viagens todas. Portanto, tu vais para ali, a partir dali, tu vais para onde tu quiseres. Hong Kong, Xangai. O problema é que
Os preços e a cidade assim é cara.
não. A cidade é muito barata. Por exemplo, eu fui logo a seguir para Singapura, é uma hora de viagem, como eu daqui para...